change won't admit it. He refuses to believe queer theory destabilizes normativity. Gender binary in the nuclear family. Change blocks the truth, smears people who try to show him. Creates an echo chamber for himself to reinforce his fantasy. He used to believe in something, what happened? Mills for liberty. Gnostic sex cult, building his own world. A Gnostic sex cult, unhinged from reality. He's totally lost it. What can we do? But mock him relentlessly. It's not a Gnostic sex cult, James. No, it's not. Stop lying to your audience. No, it's not. It's not Gnostic change. Mary Nardini tells us queer liberation means the annihilation of capitalism. Catch up, James. Whiteness means capitalism. Queer theory hates capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism. Queer theory hates capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism. It's all about capitalism. Everyone knows it's capitalism. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. Whoa. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's all about capitalism. Everyone knows it's capitalism. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. To pocket all that money from the mills for liberty. The left hates capitalism, but James won't admit it. He refuses to believe queer theory stabilizes normativity. Gender binary in the nuclear family. But James blocks the truth, smears people who try to show him. Creates an echo chamber for himself to reinforce his fantasy. Used to believe in something, what happens for liberty? Gnostic sex cult, building his own world. The Gnostic sex cult, unhinged from reality. He's totally lost it. What can we do but mock him relentlessly?
Well, hey guys, happy Monday. Welcome to The Cult. The Cult is a show that I stream on YouTube, on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and on Rumble on Mondays through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, where we talk about, well, what's going on in the world, doing deep dives into the far left, mocking James Lindsay relentlessly for his nonsense. And we've got a lot to talk about today, because today has actually just been a really crazy day. I don't know how many of you in the chat have been following along with the stuff that's been going on in Colombia all day. And it's not even just like Colombia. It's just like there is a nationwide pandemic of crazy stuff. But Colombia had some important updates for today, and we're going to spend probably most of our time going through them, because earlier today, there it is. Earlier today, it leaked that oh, no. Listen. Conservatives. Every single time in the past couple weeks that conservatives have said, it's over, they arrested them, it's over, the cops took care of it, It's over. The university's going to suspend them. Literally every single time that conservatives have said that over the past couple weeks, guess what? Not only has it not been over, it's actually gotten worse. Every single time conservatives predict that the system is going to help save them from the college students, because really, according to conservatives, like, all you need to do to end this problem is just expel all the college students and then it's going to go away. Oh, Teresa, I misunderstood. I apologize. I'm just taking out my frustration with so many people I've seen on the right on you, and that's unfair. And I shouldn't do that. Well, Kino, what do you think expulsion's going to do? And by the way, and I'm gonna be extremely blunt about this, and this is gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't think the universities have any cause to expel these students. I don't think the universities have any cause to suspend these students. I don't think the universities should be calling the cops and the National Guard on these students, because, in my opinion, and I've been watching as much primary source footage as I can, these students aren't doing anything violent. You know, my husband came upstairs just like an hour ago, and he said, "So, Carlin, what's going on with that riot at Columbia?" And I was like, "It's not a riot. They're not rioting. They're literally not. At Columbia right now, they're marching around in a giant circle, and that's all they're doing." Do you think I'm gonna have a conniption over someone spray painting a wall? Like, so far as I can tell, Kino, the Columbia students are not doing any damage to the university. There have been some other universities where there has been property damage, but that's not the rule. That's actually seems to be the exception. What I find far more offensive than a college student spray painting a wall is the cops being called on a peaceful demonstration, or the National Guard being called out on a peaceful demonstration. I'm not on the side of the administration in this, guys. I am not on the side of all of the people who are screaming that these are pro-Hamas protests, because I do not agree with that characterization. I'm not on the side of the people who are just screaming about how anti-Semitic all these students are, because that's provably false. And honestly, and maybe I'm going to be talking more today about the reaction that I've seen on the conservative right, because, you know, per usual, the reaction on the conservative right has actually been worse to me than what I've seen coming from the left. And I say that as someone who is not on the left side, not on their side at all. But that's how bad the reaction on the conservative right has been, because I firmly believe that the conservative right has just descended into lunacy in the past couple weeks. They're spreading lies, they're spreading misinformation. You can't reason with any of them. None of them actually look at primary source evidence. By the way, guys, I spent a good bit of time today watching this live stream. This is from a lefty news outlet, but this particular lefty news outlet has people inside the Columbia University encampment, because the Columbia students trust this news outlet, and so this is one of the only news outlets that's doing live streams directly from within the encampment. And so they're basically walking around with a camera. You can see what happens. They streamed today for about 3 hours. If you guys go and you watch just even a little bit of this 3-hour live stream, that will permanently dispel the conservative lie that all the tents are exactly the same. This came up on Friday because there were bullshit articles all over conservative media where they said the students are Soros funded. This is all George Soros. Now, of course, because conservatives can't by and large read or think critically or any of that. And if you're a conservative that can read and can think critically, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your side, all right? But because conservatives can't read, none of them actually read the article that was talking about the alleged Soros funding, because I got to tell you guys, there was no actual evidence in that article. There was none. I read that whole article like 3 times. I was like, what is this even about? There was no actual evidence. It was literally an entire article that said, pinky swear, trust me, bro. And I'm like, yo, I've been tracking some of the groups that are coordinating the protests in New York and now some of them nationally too for months before all this shit started. Like, I knew who some of these groups were almost a year ago. And so I had just been tracking these groups as kind of like a normal course of doing business. I know how they're funded. I know how they do business. I know how they operate. And so when their names started popping up in relation to Colombia, I was like, "Oh, that's not at all surprising. We've seen them talk about this before. Of course they would be there. Like, that makes total sense." And then all of a sudden I see this New York Post article that has the names of groups that are not even remotely involved. And it's like, oh, look, the Soros Foundation funded these groups over here. And there is one student at the Columbia protest that once had a fellowship with one of these groups. And therefore, every single student at Columbia is funded by Soros. And I'm like, I'm reading this and I'm like, do you guys even, does anyone think? And I see conservatives all over Twitter going, all the tents are the same. Why do they all have the same tent if they aren't all funded by George Soros? Well, first off, there are actually explanations for this. How about the organizing students found a link on Amazon to a cheap tent, and someone pulled out daddy's credit card and bought a bunch of them in bulk because they're only like $30. So you can buy like 10 tents for like $300, which for Columbia students, most of their daddies are not going to notice a $300 charge on the credit card, okay? But even let's say that didn't happen. How about the students took a link to the tent on Amazon and put it into a group chat and said, buy this tent? But even more than that, again, go back and watch this live stream from today. Because if you watch this live stream of them actually walking through the encampment, all the tents are different. Like, literally, all the goddamn tents are different. Now, they might have some similar colors, but that's just the way things go with tents. Like, have you guys ever been camping? Like, it's just like, it's not like you're going to have fucking glitter, fucking purple, hot pink. Like, they're all the same basic colors. They're blue, they're green, and they're gray. And like orange too pops up occasionally. But if you actually look at the tents as they're walking through the encampment, not the above view where they've got like a helicopter, like if you actually look at it, the vast majority of the tents are different. So this is one of those things that's like all these conservatives that are running around going, all the tents are the same. And I'm looking at you, Alex Jones. All you had to do was watch the live feed to question your own confirmation bias for like more than 2 seconds. And you would see that, in fact, all the tents are not the goddamn same. It's just mind-boggling. It is absolutely mind-boggling. And it's just like, I've been sitting back and watching this going, none of these people actually care what the truth is. I cannot tell you how many people I've had in my replies going, well, this isn't even a real protest. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is like the most epic conservative cope I've ever seen in my life. This isn't a real protest. They're all paid. None of them even know what they're protesting. All of it's bullshit. All of this conservative narrative is like the ironclad law of feckless, cowardly conservative projection. They are literally projecting all their own bullshit about being cowardly and about not ever doing anything and about having no principles onto the college students that have literally been taking over college campuses nationwide for a week. And they're like, they're all lazy. Oh, really? Oh, really? They're all lazy? What are you talking about? They're literally doing more than you are. Anyway, I might rant about conservatives a little bit more in this broadcast. We're going to have to see how that goes. But guys, we will be catching up on the news from Columbia today because an important thing happened today. Not that in that the Columbia University administration, we're going to be talking about that next, Christopher, relax. The Columbia University administration around 10 a.m. this morning issued a letter to the students at the encampment, and it's a long ass letter, and you can read it on the Substack, and we're going to go through some of this stuff. But basically, it said, GTFO, we want you out. Like, and so it gave them until 2 o'clock to vacate their encampment. And it said, basically, all of you are now on probation. And if you GTFO by 2 p.m. Eastern time, then we will consider, we won't suspend you. We'll just keep you on probation. But if you don't GTFO by 2 p.m., excuse me, let me drink some water. But if you don't GTO by 2 p.m., then you're going to be suspended through next year, and we're going to kick you off campus, and you're not going to get your stuff out of the dorm, and you're going to have no place to live and all this stuff. Well, God damn. Kaiwan, I did actually see this, and I do want to watch this at some point, but we're probably just not going to do it today. Well, the students basically said, F off. And what the students started doing was they, instead of just packing up and leaving, they held a rally in which the faculty were their security guards at the rally, which is a whole other thing. They held a press conference, and now they're forming a long ass line where they're just marching around campus, and they're going to be doing this for at least a couple more hours. They're just marching around the encampment to protect the encampment. They basically did a call for reinforcements, and all these thousands of people showed up, and now they're just marching around that entire encampment for a couple more hours. And now the Columbia administration's on the back foot, because one of the things they said on the live stream that I was watching is the guy was kind of positing, like, why did the administration make this ultimatum now? And it seems as though some people have been leaving the encampment because, you know, students are having finals. Like, some students are going home. It's not like they're all staying or anything. And so as students have been leaving, apparently the encampment thinks that the Columbia administration was kind of like, they were betting that the students were kind of over it, and they wanted to just, like, you know, and they were ready to be done. But of course, as soon as Columbia is like, we need you to GTFO, the students are like, fuck you, because Columbia has just made it worse over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then the students called in reinforcements, and then all of a sudden, this small little encampment that Columbia was like, okay, well, we can just knock the rest of it down now, like, it swelled up again, making the wrong damn decision at literally every possible turn. And I'm going to say this too, because I've seen a lot of people like Michael. What a bunch of assholes, don't have anything better to do than march around like a bunch of retards. I think the fact that conservatives like Michael are so upset at college students exercising their First Amendment rights, I think the reason that conservatives are so upset about this is because conservatives would never do something like this. They would never do it. And that's why conservatives will never win, and the left will always win. And I don't have to be on the left to say that, although inevitably some conservatives are going to come and go, you're still a leftist. We have jobs. No one has jobs but us. But the reason that conservatives are so pissed off at the college students, completely throwing away any commitment they had to the First Amendment at all, because the students, for the most part, have not actually been violent. The reason the conservatives are so pissed off is they know they would never, ever, 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 ever do this. And that's why they're always going to lose. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to basically look through my Twitter feed, because if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, and I'm Dr. Carlin B on Twitter, if you guys aren't following me on Twitter, that's going to be my most real-time updates. I mean, even after I published this story this morning, and there's quite a bit in this story in terms of the letter and the student posts on their social media and stuff like that. It basically, as soon as I published this story, like, the updates just kept coming from Columbia, and I just kept tweeting them out, because I can't publish a new story every time, like, something happens every 5 minutes. So we're going to go through my Twitter timeline, and we're going to talk about all the things that have happened and all that. But before we get into that, before we get into kind of the main show, How did everyone feel about the song? How did everyone feel about the Gnostic sex cult song that I played in the intro? So this is a little AI music project that I did over the weekend because, to be blunt, if James Lindsay wants to keep talking about me, and holy shit, has he been talking about me? I mean, these are links to like most of the videos that I've made just documenting the tweets that James has been sending about me, which have nothing to do with the content of my work because of course James can't argue with the content of my work. He can only spread lies and rumors like she has borderline personality disorder, which I don't have. I'm very sorry to spoil everyone's day. I don't actually have that. I don't have narcissistic personality disorder either. And yeah, there was actually a time when I did actually go to a therapist that specializes in this stuff because I was hearing it so much from James Lindsay's friends like Carrie Smith, the town crier Carrie Smith, or stepmom Dead Filman, and they were saying this every goddamn day. Carolyn has narcissism. Carolyn has so was that, and this was all happening years ago. So this is not new. This was literally 3 years ago this happened. But they were saying it so often that I actually did go to a therapist. And I was like, can you just be honest? Can you just like do is there any, because like do I like, and the therapist was like, Carlin, the fact that you're even seeing me at all tells me that you don't have it. So calm the fuck down. So no, James, I'm very sorry. I don't actually have borderline personality disorder. I don't need to Photoshop things, James, because James has been posting Photoshop screenshots. James has been elevating the voices of people who have been stalking me for years. And the linchpin of it was that James posted insinuating that I myself am in the Gnostic sex cult because I understand the law of attraction. I've talked about this a million times at this point because James just won't stop tweeting about me. But I'm not going to let this go. I'm not like, if James wants to be an asshole, like, I am a far bigger bitch than James can ever hope to be. And not only am I a bitch, I am a creative bitch. And so I wrote a song and I used AI art to make it, all about James and the Gnostic sex cult. You heard it in the introduction. If you have not heard it, you can follow the link pinned to the top of the chat on YouTube because that's going to take you over to this Substack post and you can listen to it there. And guess what? On the Substack post, you can also download this lyric sheet made by Reagan. Like, how cool is this? Check this out. Reagan made a whole lyric sheet just going over all the song lyrics so that you can sing along if you want to. It also like has references. Like, only in my cult would this happen. This was produced like within hours of me releasing the song. I was like, Reagan, how the fuck many times did you listen to this? I could have just given you the lyrics. Like, so you can get the lyric sheet. And the best part of this is that you can, indeed, as of earlier today, stream Gnostic Sex Cult on Spotify and Apple Music, and it will be going up in other places as well, but those are the big ones. And so if you want to enjoy this song for all times, it is available just for you guys. You're welcome. But I thought that if we were going to be going down this Gnostic sex cult route, we should probably explore, just because we do our due diligence, we should probably explore what the fuck does James mean when he is talking about the Oprah, law of attraction, Gnostic sex cult, queer, United Nations conspiracy theory, because it's my understanding that it is currently James's position that the Gnostic sex cult, the whole basis of this idea is that there is a massive conspiracy theory concerning the WEF and the UN and Oprah and the law of attraction and A Course in Miracles, and that everything is a Gnostic cult. And Russell Brand. Yeah, actually, yeah. And Russell Brand. Yep. Yep. I'm not making any of that up. And so James's best friend, Lisa Logan, who claimed to Reagan that she had receipts for everything that she was saying, and then instead of providing receipts, she actually just blocked Reagan. But now we have Lisa's receipts about the Gnostic sex cult, and she did a whole thread about the Gnostic sex cult. And James, I'm pretty sure, commented on it at some point saying that it was based. Although I don't see it in the replies now, but I'm not going to go back and look for it because I just don't care that much. But I'm pretty sure I saw James commenting saying this thread was based. And so apparently this is the James Lindsay approved Gnostic sex cult, WEF, Law of Attraction, United Nations, Oprah, globalist, conspiracy theory approved thread. So we should do our due diligence and figure out what this is. You know, we listen to socialists all the time. So why don't we do that? Anyway, I want to take some super chats. People have been sending them in to me, which is pretty great. Reminder that James is a cringe chud. Thank you, Nathan. The right has shown how woke many of them are. God, isn't it depressing? It really is, man. It really is. Jenny's getting inky with it said, do you think these protests were in part started to help give an air of legitimacy to what's to come? I think these protests, like I keep saying with the protest guys, like the protests were not spontaneous. Like this is side note, this is another conservative cringe conspiracy theory where they're like, what, how did they get this organized this quickly? The protests have been going on for 6 months. The protests have been going on ever since October 7th. Conservative media has been reading about the protests going on. They've been calling the college students anti-Semitic for months. They've been arguing for their campuses to be defunded. Like this has literally been going on since October 7th. The reason that it seems different is the media coverage of it blew up, but this isn't new. And so like I want people to really understand that this isn't something that poof, just like George Soros parachuted in a bunch of money and then all of a sudden they all had tents and all of this. Like, no, they've literally been protesting for months. And so I don't think this was anything other than a response to actually what I think is a legitimate grievance with the Palestinian issue. And then because of the backlash they got, it just kept escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating. And again, if these college students hadn't been called anti-Semitic 19 ways from Sunday, we might not be in this position right now. But that's what happens when you try to exert authoritarian values on people who are just exercising their right to speech. That's why you just let it happen. So no, I think this is all legitimate. I really do. There might be like, you can't dismiss the fact that there might be like paid things like I'm talking about like onesies and twosies of paid protesters, fine, but like by and large, this has just been the natural evolution of something that's been going on for a while. What if my song hits the charts? Oh, that would be so funny. It would be so funny. It's a catchy song though, isn't it? I mean, come on. And then Max says, Carlin is the creative bitch that James wishes he was. Isn't that the truth? Thank you, Mac B. I appreciate it. All right, guys, please mount the like button for me. We're going to go through this thread about the Gnostic sex cult conspiracy theory, and then we're going to talk about Columbia and the college protests. I'm sorry if you're annoyed that it's in that order, but that's the order that it is. So let's get this started. I want to get through this thread relatively quickly, but Lisa does have videos for us to watch just to prove the existence of the sex cult, apparently, and then we can do a vote, and we can see, do we think there's a Gnostic United Nations, WEF, Oprah, Law of Attraction conspiracy theory or not? I guess we'll see. Lisa Logan says, there is a cult behind a radical culture shift, and their name is the Evolutionary Leaders. Now, for the record, I've been studying Law of Attraction a really effing long time. I've been in those communities. I didn't just read The Secret, okay? I've been in those communities. I've been at their events. I went to Peru to do ayahuasca for 10 days. I've taken multiple trips out to Sedona to do spiritual related things, okay? I own crystals. I own incense. I own all the, I know how to read tarot. I know how to do astrology. I know all this stuff, okay? I have never heard of the evolutionary leaders. So if this is actually a big thing, that's news to me, man. And I feel like I've been pretty engrossed in these communities for like 20 years now, and I've never heard of these people. Now, that's not to say they don't exist. That's not, but like, they're, to say that one organization is behind the entire law of attraction conspiracy theory, that's bullshit and stupid. Lauren Chen is grilling Konstantin Kisin too. Good. Good. Honestly, F Konstantin Kisin. F Konstantin Kisin right in the ass. All right, back to this. Based upon a world religion called New Thought. That's not a real thing. They've gotten their Gnostic ideas into society through one of the most influential and widely watched people in the media, Oprah.
What I hope to see this afternoon is that we each articulate our vision of a transformed society.
No, they're saying Deepak Chopra's
We each
involved.
articulate how we're going to play a role.
Oh my God.
Then we take that collective data, put out that collective dream, put out our collective intent and our commitment to participation, and then recruit the resources and energies and the consciousness of all in the world who are on that frequency, and we do it through the help of media.
I decided to invite my first guest on the show after getting a phone call from Michael Jackson. He was calling to let me know that I absolutely had to have Dr. Deepak Chopra on the show.
They're arguing that Deepak Chopra is part of a worldwide Gnostic sex cult globalist conspiracy theory. Oh, this just gets better. Okay.
We're invoking the power of prayer today. Guiding our prayer mission is one of America's foremost
Why didn't they
spiritual
show
teachers,
Ted?
I call her. Please welcome Marianne Williamson.
Marianne Williamson.
Tonight
Also,
we're talking
what?
about-
So they're saying these people are part of the evolutionary leaders. This is not a real. Holy shit! She just made this up. This is not even a real thing. I thought that when Lisa Logan was saying they're like the evolutionary leaders, I thought that she meant there was like an official organization called the evolutionary leaders, and they were like working with Oprah. But no, she's just saying like there are people. This is literally what Lisa Logan is saying. Holy shit. She's literally saying there are people who talk about the law of attraction. And I'm going to group them and call them the evolutionary leaders to make them seem like a cult. Oh my God. This is already as stupid as I thought it was.
About my favorite topic on earth, spirituality. Reverend Michael Beckwith is the founder of the Agape International Spiritual Center. His
I
new
know
book is
him.
called Spiritual Liberation.
Alanis is
him.
scheduled to speak at the Celebrate Your Life conference with her spiritual mentor, Neil Donald Walsh.
Oh my God! Neil Donald Walsh wrote Conversations with... He wrote a book called Conversations with God, which is an amazing book, and everyone should read Conversations with God. I've read Conversations with God in a book club with my community, mother effers. Conversations with God is like a derivative of the Course in Miracles. Marianne Williamson is a derivative of the Course in Miracles. Like, holy shit. They're literally just saying New Age teachers are a cult.
Today on Super Soul Sunday, she is the best-selling author who got millions
never
of
really
us
liked
thinking
Michael
about
Beckwith, though.
our shadows. Because these shadow beliefs are really what we believe about ourselves. I don't even know how to begin to
Oh
introduce you because
my
we were
God.
going through all the books that you
Please
have.
have Joe Dispenza,
31.
please.
Okay. Umpteen bestsellers,
Right.
including The Power of Intention, which actually is my all-time favorite.
Mm.
Do you know who it is, listeners? It's Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he is here to talk
Yeah,
about
Wayne
the Tao.
Dyer's
You know,
in a
you've been
sex cult.
described, there's so
Oh
many,
my
you're described as a
God.
mystic, a philosopher, a historian, a scholar. What words do you use to describe yourself? I would call myself an evocateur of the possible and a midwife of souls. Wow.
Okay. Okay, let's just keep going. Let's keep going. Here's what I want to say. Every single person that was in that video literally just writes books about the law of attraction. They do talks about the law of attraction. It's not like they're a group of people working with each other, because they're not working with each other. They're just like, Lisa literally just put a compilation of like authors talking about the law of attraction. And I've studied like half of the people on that list, and they're not doing anything that's anything. Like, here is the basic premise of what those people teach. And I haven't studied everything, every word, every single one of them is written, but I've studied like half of them, a good half of them. The basic gist is, when you want something to happen in your life, you should visualize it happening, and you should feel as though it already has happened. So if a new car is going to make you feel amazing and powerful and just like the best, you should, before you get the new car, feel like you're amazing and powerful and the best. And by virtue of like having that energy around you already, you will set up your life in a way that is conducive to you getting that new car. That's the idea. You don't have to believe in the law of attraction, but the fact of the matter is, books like Think and Grow Rich, which is Napoleon Hill, it's a classic. Donald Trump is a student of this. Donald Trump quite literally did this with his presidential run. It's all the same thing. If you want something in your life, visualize already having it. That's all we're talking about. And now what Lisa Logan, with the help of James Lindsay, has done is bring together a list of like popular law of attraction teachers and say, they're in a Gnostic cult. That's retarded. That's literally retarded. And I'm sorry. No. This is not imaginary BS. This is like, bro, get a fucking grip. Here is an example of this. If you are interviewing for a job and you walk into that job interview and you think to yourself, I'm the best person for this job. I already have it. They already love me. They're going to offer me this job. Like, you're going to go in much more confident than if in your head you're going, I suck, and I no one's going to like me, and I don't even know why I'm doing this interview anyway. They're never going to be able to pay me what I want. Like, which of those scenarios is going to be more conducive to you getting the job? If you walk into a job interview and you're like, I suck and I'm the worst hire ever, and I know that you're not going to be able to pay me the salary I want, and you're not going to give me the hours that I want, and you're not going to have good benefits, and I don't even know, like, why would you want to hire me anyway? I'm not the best person for this job. Like, do you think that's going to get you the job? No, of course it isn't. But if you walk into that job and you have confidence and you're like, I'm absolutely the best person for this job, you don't say that in the interview. Well, sometimes you might say it in the interview, but like, in your head, you're telling yourself, I'm the best person for this job. Like, they're going to love me. They're going to love what I have to offer. They're absolutely going to offer me the money I want. Which of those scenarios is going to turn out better? This is not imaginary BS. This is like basic how life works. But no, according to Lisa Logan and James Lindsay, positive thinking and positive affirmation is a Gnostic sex cult UN Oprah conspiracy theory. As the name suggests, the cult's beliefs have a lot to do with evolution, specifically that global cooperation communism is how the next big evolutionary leap into an evolved species, being with greater awareness, is going to happen. Individualism and free will is not an option. Lisa, how fucking retarded are you? I cannot even believe I'm talking about this right now. Lisa, the law of attraction is entirely based on free will. To say that free will does not exist in the framework of talking about the law of attraction, the law of attraction, Lisa, is the ultimate free will. Because if you want to be miserable, and if you want to be poor, and if you want to see yourself as someone who is not worthy of what you want in the world, guess what, girl? You're free to do it. You have the free will to make bad decisions. You have the free will to never put yourself out there. You have the free will to think poorly of yourself. And when you do those things, you will attract things that align with someone who doesn't think well of themselves, with someone who does not see themselves as worthy. But you also have the free will to think, I am worthy of whatever I want. I can get that job. I can get that car. I can get that money. I can find the love of my life. You have the free will to do that. Law of attraction is like the ultimate free will. But of course, Lisa Logan doesn't understand this because Lisa Logan is an insane person who has listened way too much to James Lindsay ranting about this shit. And James doesn't understand it either because James is an atheist. Well, let's watch the video.
The concept of trying to measure evolution through genetics is a total false misunderstanding. The whole thing was wrong, and that's not where evolution comes from. Organism A, we said, was a bacterium. I said, what does it do? It proliferates and makes a colony of bacteria. Then I say, what does that do? Well, that forms a biofilm where they all get together and control their world by putting a membrane around it. They evolve to a differentiated community, which is called the amoeba. Then I said, what does the amoeba do? So that starts to go together and goes to the next level, which becomes the human, which is a multicellular community. I said, well, we look at the spiral this way, and I go, that's really interesting, but if you look at the spiral from the side, it looks this way. Every rung of the spiral is a jump in an evolutionary awareness by the mechanism of community. Every turn of the spiral is the evolution of the individuals that ultimately create the community. So the first rung of the ladder was the bacterium. Then communities of bacteria came and formed amoebas. And then amoebas came together and 50 trillion of them formed us. And guess what? We maximized in the 500 million years the conscious capability and mental capabilities of our nervous system. Then what when the human maximizes intelligence? Oh, it comes together in simple communities. Then it comes together in integrated communities. And then when it finally completes the next rung of the ladder, it organizes itself in a multicellular community called humanity. We
a
multicellular. We decide as humans we want to make the superorganism called humanity, or we just want to let the thing die out. What we need is the awareness and consciousness and the massive intelligence that when you get 7 billion humans to come together in one organism, with that maximum intelligence, there's going to be an emergence of new consciousness, a new awareness of nothing that you can tell me today what's going to happen tomorrow.
Okay, that does not say what Lisa Logan says it does. I'm sorry. And if you don't understand this stuff, you might not be able to pick up on that. First of all, what he's talking about is the collective consciousness. The collective consciousness is the idea that everything that everyone has ever experienced in the world goes into some sort of memory bank that we all have access to. And again, you might not believe this stuff. That's fine. I'm explaining what it means. What he is saying is that as human beings evolve their mindset, as human beings see themselves as worthy see themselves as creative beings, creativity in this case. I know that Logan Lansing seems to think that creativity has something to do with Marxism. No, creativity is you can create things in the world. You can create human beings through the form of like having sex and having kids. You can create art, you can create music, you can create buildings, you can create businesses, you can create things that serve humanity. Not everyone is in a place where they feel like they can do that, because if you have low self-worth, you are going to be less likely to produce creative things to give the world, because people with low self-worth do not believe they have anything important to give. What he is saying is that as human beings continue to evolve as a collective, because whether you like it or not, the majority of the group does have a fair amount of influence over what the rest of the group does. As human beings get more evolved, they are going to inherently see themselves as more worthy and creative beings, and they're going to produce more that serves humanity, because the highest level that you can give to is really seeing yourself as a creative being in service of everyone else. I'm you, you're me. We are all supposed to be serving each other. The only reason I'm still doing this YouTube bullshit, no offense, I love you guys, but literally the only reason I'm still doing this YouTube bullshit is that part of my path in this lifetime is I have to be of service to other people. And this is the best way for me to do it. And when I am of service to other people, I myself, because I'm an inherently selfish person, I myself am going to be more successful personally if what I'm doing is focused on serving other people. And that's true for pretty much everyone. The more you serve other people by being creative, giving something to the world of value, the more you will get in return. That's what that's talking about. And if everyone gets more creative and everyone sees themselves as part of a bigger ecosystem, then inherently people are going to be acting more in service of other people. Rottweiler says, we also ought to distinguish between atheists like myself and all the other ones like James Lindsay. I don't know how to say those words, Rottweiler, so I'm just not going to. Are the ones who claim total lack of faith, which isn't possible, and end up rambling about Gnostics. Yeah, I agree with that. And by the way, guys, I don't care if people are atheists. I don't care if people are Christian. I don't care what you are. I don't want any Christians yelling in my chat right now. If you don't want to listen to this, just leave. Anyway, let's move on. This will be aided by our community membrane, the internet. Just as the behavior of genes are controlled through information received through its membrane, human behavior is being influenced through the information we receive via social media, algorithms, feedback loops, etc.
Genes are controlled by environmental signals. Signals from the environment stick to the surface of the cell, the membrane. The membrane will then relay the signal into the proteins which control behavior. So the environment controls behavior via the membrane. So in truth, the brain of the cell is the membrane. And it's not anything to do with the genes. Well, why is that relevant?
Memory.
Because then I go back and I say, you get to a simple bacterial-sized
Who
organ.
even is this? I don't know who this
organism,
is.
And it's the smallest organism on the planet. It's the first organism on the planet. And the significance about it is this. They can only have a certain amount of membrane. So that meant evolution stopped. Why? If I'm going to make evolution by increasing membrane and I can't make any more membrane, then it stopped. Well, what happened next? I say, amoebas joined together in communities, put themselves in a bigger membrane, and that led to the evolution of the human cell. What we're seeing now is the breakdown of the structure, which is inevitably being connected by the global nervous system called the internet, which will hook 7 billion cells together to share their awareness, share their understanding of their superorganism character, and that we're moving into the next state. And it's completely not Darwinian at all. It's the complete opposite. What happens when 7 billion people come together? And the answer is, it's emergent. We don't know, but it'll be beyond anything you could ever imagine at this point. And we are on the threshold, but we're actually at the fork in the road.
Wait, so Lisa Logan's argument is that the internet is not influencing human beings, because that just seems fundamentally false. She's trying to make it seem, and I don't even know who does anyone know who this is? Like, she's trying to make it seem like what this guy is saying is wrong. But if you don't think that the internet and social media are controlling people, like, I just don't know. Lisa Logan herself is an example of someone who spends way too much time on the internet. James Lindsay himself is an example of someone who spends way too much time on the goddamn internet. Let's keep going. Your spirituality, whether you know it or not, is being hacked, and your cognitive library, or liberties rather, your cognitive liberty to choose your own belief system will be threatened by AI. New Thought's ability to distinguish itself as New Age spirituality has allowed it to slyly become a state-sanctioned religion. You're telling me, Lisa, that New Age spirituality is a state-sanctioned religion? Because I very distinctly remember a time when I had to get on an airplane and fly to Peru in order to do ayahuasca, which is a spiritual practice. I still have to go to churches in the United States, like places that get set up as churches, in order to do ayahuasca now, which is a spiritual religious practice that is heavily regulated in this country. You're telling me I have a state-sanctioned religion when there was a time when I literally had to leave the country in order to practice my spiritual beliefs and participate in a religious ceremony? You're telling me that I have a state-sanctioned religion when there are shamans who come to the United States who have to sneak in all of the plant medicine from the Amazon, because a lot of it's still not legal here, and they have to sneak it in different ways, and I know how they do it, but I'm not going to say that on the internet, in order to do the ceremonies, but it's a state-sanctioned religion? All right, let's listen.
We are part of a movement called New Thought, which, by the way, no one has heard of.
We're labeling things all the time, and it's funny that we even call this thing New Thought because it's been around forever.
It's all about our thoughts creating our lives and our being one with God. And there's nothing really new about it. It's just a new presentation of an ancient concept.
It's known by other names or no name at all in many countries by many people.
New Thought is not just about sitting and thinking. New Thought is about mind power, it's about heart power, it's about spirituality. It's actually about being one with the divine and raising your thoughts from a human egocentric consciousness, one to a divine consciousness.
And in that expanded awareness is a new intuition, a new insight, a new imagination, new contexts, new meanings, new stories.
There's a whole philosophy, there's a whole point of view. There are saints and sages and mystics and prophets and living masters and Oprahs and Michael Bathwicks and amazing souls on the planet carrying this light, carrying this forward.
So glad you are here with me!
People may not even be recognizing that they're watching something about New Thought.
New Thought may permeate almost everything because it is a chameleon and it's really compatible with almost anything and everything.
All right, I don't disagree with anything in that video because there was nothing in that video that was bad or cult-like. What that video said is, again, the idea of you vision something for yourself, and if you create a vision for what you want in your life, you are more likely to get that thing. In terms of like the divine nature of it, the belief of the spiritual system is that like we're all a divine part of God. That's all that means. Don't Christians basically believe the same thing? It's literally just all of us come from God. We are all a divine part of God. Therefore, we are the gods of our own experience in that we are here to have a creative experience. So if like you can literally create your life however you want. You can literally create whatever you want in your life. You just have to be able to see yourself as being able to create that thing. If you can't see yourself as being able to create something, you're never going to do it. If you can't see yourself as being someone who owns a big house or has a great family or any of those things, you aren't going to be able to do it. I mean, I just like that's what they're saying when they're saying you are the divine spark of God. You are a divine being of like that comes from God. It's saying you are a spiritual being meant to be here to have a creative experience. What's wrong with that, Lisa? Lisa Logan is literally creating her experience right now by being a cunt on Twitter. This is not just some fringe cult with no power or influence. The evolutionary leaders are tied to big business initiatives such as ESG and are putting their religion into schools via social emotional learning and are working with the UN to install a global one world religion. Oh my God. I wish that this stuff was being taught in schools. But if you're comparing social emotional learning to creating a vision board, Lisa, you are off your goddamn rocker.
When I heard what our next guest claims he could do, I had to see for myself. From New York City, please welcome mentalist Gerard Senahi. What is a mentalist, by the way?
A mentalist is someone who blows people's minds by doing things that people just can't explain through science or reason.
Oh, snap.
Well, that's bullshit.
Watch.
That's a
And then,
magician.
just in case any of you has the theories, you know how I like to bust people's theories. I'm a mentalist. Watch.
Our next guest describes himself as a mentalist. He's also a longtime educator and the founder of the Question Project.
Is it a mentalist for folks that aren't
Wait.
sure
The Question Project is an SEL program that incorporates spirituality and religious questions. Lisa, I find that very, very hard to believe. I'm going to need some receipts on that, Lisa.
that means or
Yeah.
what that entails? Explain.
Well, I like to disrupt people's reality and inspire them to question life.
This is quite literally the stupidest thread that I've ever seen on Twitter in the history of Twitter. I'll cover more about how the evolutionary leaders are operating in each sector of our society in future videos, but I hope this first one helps you to understand the situation. Global communism is the goal of the cult religion! Oh no! Let me just see how long this video is. Hang on. 34 minutes. We're not going to have time to do that one today. Maybe we'll do it later. Maybe we'll do it later for a late night stream. But yeah, that was that was so stupid. Oh my God. I knew it was going to be stupid. I didn't know it was going to be that stupid. So guys, that is the hard evidence for the James Lindsay Gnostic sex cult UN Oprah WEF SEL globalist conspiracy theory. And remember, if you watch my channel, you are automatically part of the Gnostic sex cult, because I am obviously part of the Gnostic sex cult because I once read A Course in Miracles and I understand how the law of attraction works. You guys wonder why I am so hard on James Lindsay? You know what? You guys wonder why I'm like making songs about James Lindsay and calling out James Lindsay's bullshit and pointing out that James Lindsay is lying to his audience. You guys wonder why I'm doing this stuff? Because James Lindsay is quite literally convincing people that the law of attraction is a Gnostic sex cult. And listen, man, listen, I'm not just making this up. This is a post that Tayton sent me earlier today. Russell Brand apparently has converted to Christianity or some such shit. And I don't care about that so much, except that Russell Brand posted this video where he was apparently like using tarot cards or something like that. And I got my tarot cards right here. I just want to say that. And someone retweeted it, and it was a long thread I saw, but this is the most pertinent part. Be careful, because some of these people are actually spouting theosophical ideas. And if you've been listening to James Lindsay lately, your alarm should be going off. Bro. The card that Russell Brand is holding up is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is an interesting card because it's basically a woman who has a loose blindfold tied around her eyes and loose ties that have her arms at her side, and she's surrounded by a bunch of swords. What this card means is swords are about thought, and it basically is like you're creating a mental prison for yourself. And all you need to do is to get out of your own way, to stop looking at the situation the way you're looking at it, to take off your own blindfold, to take off these ties, because they're all loosely tied. You could shrug them off. It's not like she's trapped or anything. And to very literally walk out of the prison, because there's nothing keeping her in the prison. She is there because she wants to be there. This is what I mean when I say Lisa Logan is a retard for not understanding that the law of attraction is the ultimate free will. Because if you want to be in a mental prison of your own creation, you have the free will to do that. No one's going to stop you from doing that. But if you don't want to be in a mental prison by negative self-talk, then all you need to do is take the blindfold off and you will see. That is what Russell Brand is saying. And he can be a Christian all he wants. That's fine. But to say that this is a Gnostic sex cult, globalist, social emotional learning, Oprah-driven conspiracy theory is stupid. All right. With that out of the way, let's do some real stuff, shall we? Hang on, let me find my real stuff. Not that. That. Okay, so today, hang on. Today, we were all awoken, or at least I was awoke. Oh, sorry, I missed some super chats. Thank you. Let's see. Naruto says, a few days ago, Ariel Scarcella asked people, what are ways to be queer that have nothing to do with being gay or trans? I and others said queer is Marxism. Yesterday, she released a video on that tweet and talked about it as Marxism. I heard about that. I heard that Ariel gave me a very nice shout out. And so I appreciate that. I haven't had the chance to see it yet, but I do appreciate it. Don't worry. We're going to watch Lisa Logan's video. Don't worry. We're not done berating that bitch yet. I am creating a reality in which I'm going to berate Lisa Logan as often and as severely as I possibly can, because it's just, I can't. I cannot let this abide. This is stupid. And the fact that she didn't even bother, and that James Lindsay didn't even bother to do just like, if they had to, like, soon Lisa Logan and James Lindsay are going to be campaigning for Joe Dispenza to be removed from bookshelves and burned, and they're going to be campaigning to have Gaia be deplatformed. Gaia is like a new age spirituality website that they do lots of new age stuff, and some of it's so cheesy, but some of it's so good. But no, we're not allowed any more Gaia. We're not allowed any more crystals. We're not allowed any more meditation. They'll be trying to ban that next, because God knows if people meditate, they might start thinking that they have power in the world, and we can't have that. Can't have any more aliens or ghosts or spirits or crystal balls or any of the other cool stuff. Can't do any of that. Nope. James Lindsay doesn't approve. Anyway, he can go fuck himself. Back to important things. So earlier today, we learned that Columbia University was basically telling the students to GTFO off of their property. You'll see here that Columbia sent the students a nice little letter saying that please promptly gather your belongings and leave this encampment. If you voluntarily leave by 2 p.m., identify yourself to a university official and sign the provided form where you commit to abide by all university policies through next year or the date of your degree, whichever is earlier. You will be eligible to complete the semester in good standing. And then it said, it is important for you to know that the university has already identified many students in the encampment. If you do not identify yourself upon leaving and sign the form, you will not be eligible to sign and complete the semester in good standing. And then it said, basically, you'll be restricted from everything having to do with Columbia. Your ID won't work. You will be kicked out of your dorm. You won't have access to food. So you have to sign this form and identify yourself and your ID, or else you're going to be punished. Well, this was after a couple weeks of like negotiations. And I told you guys from the beginning, I didn't think that the students were ever going to come to terms with the administration. It was more just like a stall tactic just to keep their encampment going. So I'm not saying that the students were acting in good faith, but last night, the students posted this update on Instagram. And I just wanted to show you this. We're not going to read all of it, but like, I wanted to show you this. Check this out. So you know how last week we listened to that e-zine that talked about how students want to that talked about how Marxists essentially want to tear down the universities because the universities themselves have capitulated to capitalism. And so we were saying, based on that zine that we listened to last week, that it wouldn't surprise us at all if the student intent was actually to tear down the university because it was too close to capitalism. Do you guys remember that? I remember that. Well, check this out. The students were talking about the negotiations they were having with the university, and they said the offer. The university has offered to pass our proposals through the Advisory Committee on Socially Responsible Investing. Here is the problem the students had with this. This would not be binding, as implementation would depend on the board of trustees who have corporate capitalist interests. So the students negotiating with Columbia are literally telling us they see their university as an illegitimate system that's perpetuating capitalism. They're saying this is part of the negotiations, which is exactly what we heard last week. They put a whole bunch of other things. They basically said the university is lying about X, Y, B, and Z, et cetera, et cetera. The university believes they can thwart our movement by throwing money at students. Columbia is willing to start resilience funds for Gaza or create scholarships for Palestinians. This is akin to the USA dropping aid in Palestine while actively funding the genocide itself. I mean, are they wrong? Are they wrong? Really? And then they said they refused to accept it. And then the administration sent out an email to the community basically saying the same thing. And that was what I had this morning when I published the story. Now, lots has happened since then. And what we're going to do is basically going to go up my Twitter feed, okay? Because there's a lot that's happened. Let's see. Oh, check this out. Actually, let me get the sound up. This is a video that came out of Columbia. And this is actually scary. Terry, thank you for being a member of the channel for 3 months. How about we, Comrade Carlin cultists, start our own channel discussion videos? It'll take the pressure off of Carlin. No one responds to my tweets. Just a thought. I mean, listen, Terry, there are a lot of tweets I send that no one responds to. I wouldn't assume that just because no one is responding, that means no one's seeing them. I know people are seeing your tweets because I'm retweeting a lot of them and you can see the number on the side. And a lot of times people just don't respond. But I mean, I would say, like, if you guys want to try making videos, I would absolutely encourage that and let me know how I can promote them and help you. Happy to help in any way I can. Thank you for the chat. All right, let's listen to this video. This is actually, I think, was from Columbia University.
The students are with us, the staff are with us, and the faculty are with us. We run the fucking university.
So the comment was about focusing our escalations on like opening the gates and kind of combating the securitization and lockdown of the campus, and really focusing on orienting our movement around our connection to the community in Harlem, the other student movements, and other Palestinian liberation movements in the city. Yeah.
Not just focus on the community, but whatever movement of the encampment in synchronicity. Not
Yeah.
in this event, but at once.
Yeah. In synchronicity with the community and multiple movements
With the collective.
I was just going to say that, think about it, when a student moves out, their ID card is made for the summer, and they can actually just give it to another person to go on it.
I'm not gonna announce that one into the mic.
So essentially what that just said is like they've got a whole bunch of ID cards that are paid up that they're like storing up to give to other students or not students, like people who are trying to get on campus.
I agree with you.
I just wanted to say also, I'm not going to repeat that either. As we get into sort of more like tactical stuff, I just want all of you to be aware that there are Zionists in here and they are recording us. Boo!
All right. So that was a recording from Columbia that was posted earlier today. Let's see. That's not relevant. Oh, can I just complain about conservative media continuing to be stupid? Because, like, look at this. This is on Fox News. This is, I guess, a host for Fox and Friends. I don't really know. I don't watch that show. But this is the expert Fox News analysis from Lawrence B. Jones. All of us have been trying to figure out what those nut jobs want. None of their logic is making any type of sense right now. This is the expert Fox News analysis. The college students are nut jobs who don't make any sense. I'm pretty sure that every single person who watches my content with any sort of consistency understands that the students have been completely intellectually consistent. The students understand it is conservatives and conservative media who refuse to listen that do not understand what's going on. The only clueless people in this equation are conservatives. Again. Oh, shit. Hang on. Oh, I didn't intend to do that. Oh, well. Shit. Hang on. Showing my secret screen name. Oh, well. Whatever. I've got another sock account I can use if they block me on that one. Doesn't really matter. Anyway. Okay, so here's what happened next. So after Columbia sent the demands to students, students basically were like, no. And they posted the picture basically saying like, I ain't reading all that, free Palestine. And then this was the one I was interested in. Columbia will burn. That seems ominous. Let's see. Oh, this is a poster for a rally. So what happened when all this stuff started happening at Columbia is all of these different organizations, and this is from the People's Forum, I believe. Yep, the People's Forum. We've watched the People's Forum on Socialism Saturday before. People's Forum is a socialist, kind of more like, they're not uber socialist. They're more like People's Forum is more like democratic socialists, like People's Forum is like the old lady kind of like hippie socialists. They're not like the hardcore Antifa socialists. They're more like the Woodstock generation socialists. But they do have some younger people involved. And so basically what happened is all of these organizations started putting out calls in New York once they found out the administration was going to try to kick everyone out of the campus at Columbia to come in and to support them and to defend the campus. Yeah, like a Wallace Shawn socialist, exactly. And then here's another thing they did with they actually created, they called this a doormat, where they took the letter that the university sent students and they taped it to the ground so everyone was walking on it. It says "Shame on Columbia." And then, oh, this was happening at USC over in Southern California. They're protesting outside the university president's house. So that's nice of them. This is at Yale. Now, Yale was one of those places where, again, the right made this big deal because a bunch of people at Yale got arrested. And the right made this big deal about, okay, they arrested those students at Yale. We don't have to do anything else. Nothing more to see here. Well, check this out. Hundreds of Yale students have restarted a campus encampment following dozens of arrests this past Monday and a statewide march and rally in New Haven of over 1,000 people. Isn't that nice? Not that far away from Columbia. All right. So another thing the students did today is an hour before, and this is at Columbia again, an hour before their deadline to leave the encampment, they basically called a rally, and they were like, we're going to have a rally and a press conference. And their response to that letter was as follows. At 9:30 a.m., university delegates attempted to hand out flyers that gave students two options. Either leave by 2 p.m. and sign a form to break no further rules until June 30th, 2025, or be interim suspended, be evicted, lose campus access, and right to graduate. Many students chose to throw those flyers in the trash. We suggest students in the encampment not sign the slips from the administration, as they have shown the negotiation process they cannot be trusted. Though the forms say you are eligible to continue the semester, signing means agreeing to further discipline even if you comply. Mass refusal and mass protest protect us. Show up at 1 p.m. at the sundial to show united strength and protect encampment that we build together. We are protesting a genocide. Gaza has been razed to the ground, yet the university president explicitly states in her email this morning, we will not divest from Israel. So this is another thing, because the main thing that the students have been pushing for is complete divestment from Israel, which basically means people have questions about what that means. Divestment just means you are not sending money to Israel. That's literally all divestment means. You're not investing in Israeli campuses for the university. You're not funding projects in Israel. You are not funding projects specifically that work with the IDF. You're not basically you're not sending our money to Israel. That's literally what divestment is. But no, this is so crazy an idea that Columbia has to explicitly state, we will not divest from Israel. I wonder why. We are not the safety concern on campus. We refuse to accept the assault on our rights to protest Columbia's hand in the murder of 35,000 Palestinians. Jewish Voices for Peace was getting involved. That's not about that. Let's see. This was a press release that was issued by the Columbia protesters, and you can see it basically kind of says the same thing. Nothing really different. You guys can check that out on my feed if you want. Other than the students held a press conference outside of the library, which is what that was announcing. These are police arriving outside of Columbia ahead of the deadline. I don't know how many police are still there, but I do wonder. I mean, I suspect they're going to try to do police action at some point in the next day or so, probably sometime tonight. So we'll have to keep an eye on that to see what's going on. Oh, check this out. Someone at UCLA, and by the way, the protests at UCLA are insane. They basically taken over their whole quad area. They've spray painted stuff. But someone at UCLA paid to have like a $10,000 television set up to constantly be streaming basically what Hamas did on October 7th in front of the protesters. Now, I have questions because what I've seen the right saying is that they are having a massive goddamn hissy fit over the fact that college students bought tents. And they're like, who funded all those tents? And the college students had sandwiches to give out at their protest, and they had coffee, and they're like demanding to know who's funding the sandwiches and the coffee. This is like a $10,000 setup. Who's funding this? They had to, not only is this like a $10,000 setup, they had to get permission from the city in order to do this. This is a whole permitted thing. So who's funding this? That's the question I have. Not that I'm opposed to it. I don't really care either way. It makes no difference. I'm just curious about why we're making such a big deal over $30 tents, but no one wants to ask the question of who's funding the $10,000 giant video setup. Let's see. Oh, well, look at this. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that all of the protests need to stop now. So don't worry, guys. That's going to fix everything. The protests are over. Trump posted on Truth Social. This was a screenshot of one of the speakers at Columbia that was wearing a t-shirt that said unionized queer. And they're working with the United Auto Workers Union. Apparently, the United Auto Workers have a union of graduate students at Columbia. Why do the United Auto Workers have a graduate student union at Columbia? How many other colleges and universities do the United Auto Workers have student unions for? What does being a graduate student at Columbia have to do with being an auto worker? These are just questions I have because I know that socialists use unions to organize and socialists use unions to recruit. And we know by virtue of them being there, and actually we've seen several members of the United Auto Workers over the course of the last week and a half or so. We know that the United Auto Workers are very socialist. Columbia is not a trade school. So why are the United Auto Workers at Columbia? The graduate program at Columbia is not a trade school. Mysteries of the world we will never solve. Let's see. This was a screenshot that I took about 8 minutes before 2 p.m. This was off their official YouTube page, or not YouTube, Instagram. Here's another shot of the crowd right before 2 p.m. So it didn't really look like the students were going anywhere. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, check this out. All of the people in the orange vests, those are faculty. You know what's happened is that, Do you guys remember last week where we noticed that the students had set up their own security detail? And so in order to even get onto the encampment at Columbia, you had to go through like the student security force. Well, the faculty have now taken over the security force. So what happened today is the faculty literally formed lines and locked arms in front of the encampment because the faculty are now protecting the students. Let's see. The encampment at UT Austin is back. So you remember last week how conservatives were all excited that UT Austin called out the riot cops and they had cops on horses and all that stuff. And Greg Abbott made this big declaration that anti-Semitism was not welcome in Texas. Well, the Austin encampment is back. I know we're all shocked at this revelation that calling the riot cops on the students didn't actually work. What's this? This is outside of Columbia, posted by our friends in the Party for Socialism and Liberation. So lots of people were showing up outside of Columbia's gate. Here's another shot of the faculty who are all protecting the students. Check this out. This is from a Telegram group that I'm in. Look at all the new encampments that have popped up. Rutgers, Case Western Reserve, University of British Columbia, UMass. I can drive right out to UMass, a couple hours away. UC Irvine, UC Riverside, UW-Madison, Occidental, Virginia Commonwealth University, the Sorbonne. The Sorbonne has an encampment. University of Georgia, University of Oregon, California State Sacramento, Oberlin, Syracuse University, and UW-Milwaukee. Let's see. This was the student press conference, and they're noting again, we will not be moved unless by force. And I'm reiterating my prediction, guys. I think they're trying to recreate Kent State. May Day is on Wednesday. May Day is like the annual celebration of the socialist revolution, or excuse me, the struggle for the socialist revolution. The anniversary of Kent State is on Saturday. And the students are holding press conferences that are probably more well attended than anything the university is doing, that are saying, we will not be moved except by force. They're trying to set up another Kent State. Let's see. Oh, Florida, University of Southern Florida. Hello. I keep hearing this isn't happening in Florida, but no, it is happening in Florida. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, here's another shot of the faculty. These are the stunning and brave faculty lining up to protect the students at Columbia. And let's see. Oh, check this out. May Day rally. These are the schools in Virginia. University of Virginia, Mary Washington, Virginia Tech. What is this? Virginia Commonwealth University. Apparently, there is a May Day rally on Wednesday at the Virginia colleges. I know I'm shocked. So that's kind of what's going on, guys. That's pretty much it. I was thinking about watching some of this live stream, but you guys can watch that on your own. Just another day. Just another day. Want to watch that Gnostic sex cult video? I'm just not feeling talking about the protest anymore. You guys can watch it on your own. Do you guys want to watch that Lisa Logan Gnostic sex cult video? Should we do that instead? Yeah. Lisa Logan, your time has come. Hang on. We're not going to be able to watch the whole thing, but we'll watch some of it. Let's Yes, Lisa, hang on. We're going to see James Lindsay's bestie. I'm sorry for people who are here for protest coverage. I'm just tired, okay? I'm tired. My voice is not holding up. You can look at all my coverage on Twitter. Let's watch this on Gnostic sex cult video. We got a little extra time. All right, let's see what she had to say.
Do you want to have the ability to get to choose your own belief system?
Yes.
I do. But there's a coordinated effort going on right now to take that cognitive liberty away from all of us. Your spiritual beliefs are being hacked, whether you know it or not, by a literal neo-communist religious cult. This cult is the cause of all the woke ideas you see suddenly permeating our culture, and they're working with the United Nations to bring forth—
Bro, are you shitting me? You think the law of attraction is responsible? I might have to do a nitwits on this. Let's just get it started, okay? We can do it again, maybe. Oh, Sin. You missed it. This is the crazy lady who's saying the law of attraction is a Gnostic sex cult. These people really think that the law of attraction is what's responsible for every crazy idea? I'm sorry, one more time. I need to just...
neo-communist religious cult. This cult is the cause of all the woke ideas you see suddenly permeating our culture.
The law of attraction is responsible for all of the woke ideas permeating our culture? Golly gee, I thought it was the radical revolutionary socialists who constantly talk about these ideas and constantly push these ideas and organize around these ideas and are very clear about what they're doing around these ideas. But no, we're all mistaken, guys. It was never the radical revolutionary socialists who were responsible for socialist ideas. It was Marianne Williamson and the law of attraction.
And they're working with the United Nations to bring forth a one world religion, theirs, which will be enforced through globalism. The people involved with this
Not
cult
what that
might
means,
surprise
Lisa.
you, and ultimately, the amount of power that they have within the sectors that they've infiltrated should concern you, because their religion, Gnostic New Thought, views your individualism as a literal threat to their humanity.
Gnostic New Thought. First of all, the law of attraction is not Gnosticism. In fact, let me prove that live right now. We're obviously going to do a full nitwits on this. I can't do all of this now. I don't even know how much more of this I can do now, but we're going to do a little experiment, okay? Maybe we'll just end it after this experiment, and that'll be all we do for today. Because I'm losing my voice. I can't talk. I don't know what's going on. I can't talk. All right, let's go to Grok. So I'm going to Twitter's AI tool. And I'm going to write, if my computer allows me, there we go, is the law of attraction Gnosticism? The law of attraction is often associated with New Age philosophers rather than Gnosticism. It is based on the principle that positive thoughts and intentions can attract positive outcomes in one's life. This concept is rooted in self-empowerment and personal growth, rather than the religious and mystical doctrines typically associated with Gnosticism. Gnosticism, on the other hand, is a collection of ancient religious ideas and systems that often focus on the idea of spiritual knowledge as a means of salvation. While there might be some overlap in the ideas of self-knowledge and personal growth, the law of attraction and Gnosticism have distinct origins and objectives. In summary, while some might see connections between the law of attraction and Gnostic ideas, the law of attraction is generally considered a modern concept related to New Age thinking rather than a form of Gnosticism. The law of attraction is not hidden knowledge. Everyone has access to every bit of knowledge. It's just a matter of, do you want access to it or do you not want access to it? The law of attraction also is not a spiritual path to salvation. Gnosticism talks about accessing hidden knowledge for the purpose of your salvation. That is not what the law of attraction is. If for no other reason, then you don't need to be saved from anything. The whole idea of law of attraction is you are a part of God. You are a spiritual being. You are a divine spark of God that has come to this existence to have a creative human experience. You don't need to be saved from anything. God loves you. God loves you unconditionally. You are a divine spark of God. There is no hell. There is no purgatory. When you die, you go back and you have access to all the knowledge again. Gnosticism is a subset of Christianity. Law of attraction comes from an ancient set of spiritual beliefs. It is not a subset of Christianity. This is so dumb. This is so dumb. I can't even. All right. We're going to have to do a whole Nitwits episode on this. I need to clear up whatever's going on with my throat, possibly by having some tea and some honey. But what is the tide to get into this sex cult anyway? I mean, I guess you just paid it, Landmark. Thank you. So that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. Sorry, a little bit of a haphazard show. I intended to talk more about the college protests, but my throat is just not cooperating with me. Hopefully, I will have some tea and honey, and we'll do some Nitwits later. But I'm going to go, not honey, lemon. All right, Sin, I'll try lemon tea, I promise. Jenny's getting inky with it says, one could say capitalism is part of her Gnostic cult, since the more money one has, the more money they tend to get. Yeah, exactly. Capitalism is indeed part of the cult. I agree. Do you guys want to listen to the song one more time, since we're talking about the Gnostic sex cult, to play us out? Let's do that. If you missed the Gnostic sex cult song, here it is. You can download it on or stream it on Spotify and Apple Music. But just because we're talking about it, one more time for posterity. I will see you guys tomorrow or possibly later tonight. Have a good one, guys. We'll see you soon.
James Lindsay is obsessed with lying to his audience. What crazy things can he get them to believe? He does it irresponsibly to pocket all that money from the mills for liberty. The left hates capitalism, but James won't admit it. He refuses to believe queer theory destabilizes normativity. Gender binary and the nuclear family. James blocks the truth, smears people who try to show him. Creates an echo chamber for himself to reinforce his fantasy. He used to believe in something. What happened? Mills for liberty. Gnostic sex cult, building his own world. A Gnostic sex cult, one hit from reality. Totally lost in what can we do but mock him relentlessly. It's not a Gnostic sex cult, James. No, it's not. Stop lying to your audience. No, it's not. It's not Gnostic change. And Mary Nardini tells us queer liberation means the annihilation of capitalism. Catch up, James. Whiteness means capitalism. Queer theory hates capitalism. Whiteness means capitalism. knows it's capitalism. The socialist knows it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. Whoa. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's all about capitalism. Everyone knows it's capitalism. The socialists know it's capitalism. Wake up, James. It's capitalism. It's capitalism. To pocket all that money from the mills for liberty. The left hates capitalism, but James won't admit it. He refuses to believe queer theory stabilizes normativity. The gender binary and the nuclear family. But James blocks the truth, smears people who try to show him, creates an echo chamber for himself to reinforce his fantasy. Is to believe in something. What happens for liberty? Gnostic sex cult building its own world. The Gnostic sex cult unhinged from reality. It's totally lost it. What can we do but mock him relentlessly?